filled with challenges, and I really want to be candid about those challenges. We have to really keep it real that the job search is tough for people who've left the country and now want to come back and reintegrate. The reintegration process back into the country has not been easy, and I don't know if time moves slow enough for you to be able to really process the changes. Definitely a disadvantage of leaving is that you just have the burden of starting over. There's an assumption that you're going to be making big money. Didn't you shoot this another time? Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to all my subscribers, and welcome to my new subscribers. I really am hopeful that we're going to get a goal to 1,000 subscribers at least before the year ends. I'm so hopeful. And I see the numbers going up, so thank you so much for your support. Let's dive into today's topic, which is, as you can see from the title, the disadvantages of living abroad. I feel like I've been such a Debbie Downer, all things living abroad, and really that's not my intention. I'm just trying to keep it real. Disclaimer, I enjoyed my time living abroad. I found it incredibly enriching and would do it again if I had an opportunity. However, it was obviously not perfect. It was not a perfect experience, and it was filled with challenges, and I really want to be candid about those challenges so that people can have somewhat of a holistic, reflection from me about living abroad. I think we have enough content that glamorizes it, and I think I have enough content on my own channel where I also keep it real, all things, the things that are great. But I do think I need to also keep it really candid and 100 about the things that are not so great. So I've been back now for about 5 months, going on 6 months soon, and the reintegration process back into the country has not been easy. And this is the first thing that's tough about living abroad, or rather the experience of, uprooting, leaving everything, and then making a decision to come back. And my experience might be very different from a person who's lived abroad for longer. I mean, I was only in Germany just under 18 months. I know people who've lived abroad for most of their lives and have no intention to come back, and they have a very different experience, and may even have a very different experience when they reintegrate. So perhaps this is more of a truer reflection for somebody who is living abroad or planning to move for the short term. It is honestly not easy. And the reason why I highlight the short term is so much changes in such a short period of time, and I don't know if time moves slow enough for you to be able to really process the changes. So in my case, I resigned from my job. I was pregnant when I left the country. I sold my car. I had to find a new school for my daughter, and all of those changes were things that I knew would come with this experience, and I welcomed those those changes. But obviously, I couldn't have anticipated what those changes would mean in the reverse. So I made the decision to leave, bearing that in mind, and coming back, the pregnancy, the leaving my job, the selling my car, all of those decisions, they have consequences, and the consequence put very clearly is you have to start over in every aspect. So it hasn't been easy to start over. And the reason why I say maybe time also doesn't move slowly enough for you to catch a break is because if you really start over in the way that I have had to, you are starting from scratch. I had an apartment, I had to get another one. I had a car, I have to get another car. My child was in a school, we had to find another school. I had a certain kind of life and a certain kind of social life, and I have to now find my rhythm again. And also bearing in mind that I changed in certain ways when I left, and now I have come back and have to find space for my new interests or the new version of myself. And while I have a very firm foundation and sort of community in my country and feel very comfortable here, I'm also very aware that people's lives have also gone on, and there have been shifts and changes in other people's lives, people that were part of my life and maybe are still part of my life. And now I have to find my rhythm in between all of that. And that can be incredibly uncomfortable. So that's the one thing I really want to highlight when you're considering to uproot and leave, is that it is uncomfortable moving back. I know that people or certain types of personalities which thrive and find it really, I don't know, exciting. There was a part of myself that was that way for a long time, find it exciting to start over. Right now in my life, when I'm looking for stability in many different areas, this particular part of the reintegration process has been difficult. And I'm a person who likes to feel in control, and I just don't feel in control. There's a lot happening at once, and I have surrendered to that fact and accepted it. So that's something that comes with moving abroad. That is definitely a disadvantage of leaving, is that you just have the burden of starting over, and that burden can be financial, that burden can be emotional, that burden can be filled with a lot of uneasy emotions. But the upside with that is that you get to have a clean slate and get to redefine what your life looks like with a new beginning. And honestly, we don't always have to be that optimistic about life. Sometimes things are just that uncomfortable and difficult in that season. So that's just something that I want us to keep very real, or to be very real about. Another disadvantage with living abroad is you take so long to integrate into a new environment, community setting. And there are experiences that you will definitely experience along the way, which can be incredibly traumatic or harmful to your being, or just uncomfortable because maybe you're out of your comfort zone and that's uncomfortable. And I don't know, some people never recover from those things. I know people who've lived abroad and had such terrible experiences. They have changed in some of the worst ways. So this is just something to factor in, that there is an exciting element to having to no, there's something really beautiful about putting yourself out there and opening yourself up to new experiences, and you can only really benefit. I mean, there are disadvantages, but the benefits far outweigh the disadvantages. But there's a lot of discomfort that comes with that. And I don't know if we're really honest about it. Yeah, it can be life altering in a very uncomfortable way. And I'd love to hear it. I mean, I know a lot of people who follow me here are currently in Germany or are abroad and have experienced this. I'd love to hear, what have you experienced that you found incredibly difficult? It could be the weather. It could be the fact that there's a different currency, there's a different language. It could be the fact that you just don't have access to the food that you like. I mean, there's all kinds of things. So that second disadvantage would just be, there will be a lot of discomfort that comes with these new experiences. And depending on your personality and the kind of person you are, you know, you take that a bit of stride, or it's life altering in some of the worst ways for some people. Third disadvantage: if you, like myself, and resigned and left your job and left your job market, having worked a little bit, to go pursue opportunities in another country, it is going to be very difficult when you reapply and want to now work and reintegrate into the professional job market in your country again. There's an assumption that when we leave the country to go pursue opportunities in other countries, especially first world countries, there's an assumption that you're going to be making big money. That's the first assumption, which is not always true. The second assumption is you're going to be so upskilled that when you come back, you're definitely going to get paid better. You're going to have better opportunities. Everybody's going to want you. I'm a South African. We have a very high unemployment rate in this country. Yes, I was upskilled. Yes, I had a beautiful opportunity, and an opportunity that I know I only benefited from. However, I still had to reapply for work like everybody else. I still had to, look for opportunities. I resigned from my old employer. I didn't have a job waiting for me comfortably. I had to apply like everybody else in the country who does not have a job at the moment. So that experience was not easy. I knew that I was going to come back. So I started the job search like 6 months in advance, 6 months before I knew I'd need to. And I'm glad I did, because it also meant that I got my job that I currently have far sooner than I actually anticipated, which meant that we did not have the stress to factor in of finding work. And with children, those are stresses that I just don't want to have. I would never want to come home and not have a job and have no financial security and be dependent on other people, etc., etc. And when you stress like that, at least in my experience, it you almost don't see the value then, all the other skills and pros that you may have experienced while abroad. So we have to really keep it real that the job search is tough for people who've left the country and now want to come back and reintegrate. And this is obviously very sector specific. I'm not familiar with other sectors and sort of the career trajectory and the expectations in terms of, you do this step, then that step, and if you go abroad, it affords you this opportunity. I'm not sure. But in my field, the development space, it's tough to find work generally, no matter how great you are. I mean, I know a lot of people who are unemployed currently who are brilliant. So that is a burden, and that is something I don't think we talk about. And with that burden also comes financial expectations that may have to be lowered. Again, people have this expectation that we come back and we earn racks. That is not the case. I got the shock of my life when I had to apply for work and realized that people were getting paid less than what the salary that I earned before I left. I didn't realize that this is what people were getting paid. I think I was just in my bubble, my GIZ bubble. I had been there for 5 years. I'd got my early increases and didn't have a real sense of what are people actually getting paid for the type of work I have right now, or the type of job I have, and the experience I have. So no, we don't all leave the country and come back and earn racks. That is not the reality. I know a lot of people who I even worked with when I was in Germany who had the same experience as I do, who are brilliant, who are now struggling to find work. This is something we don't talk about often. And this is a disadvantage. You take up opportunities not always having the awareness of the risk. And I think sometimes because people are so desperate to find opportunities, sometimes an opportunity abroad looks so great. It's like this is a one-way ticket to success. And we don't always have the foresight to understand the disadvantages that may come with. So my camera is heating up, so I'll leave it there for now. I hope those 3 insights about some of the disadvantages are helpful for someone. These are 3 disadvantages. I'm sure there's many others. And like I said, leaving, uprooting, leaving everything, opening yourself up to new experiences can only benefit a person, but it does come with a fair amount of uncomfortable hurdles to navigate along the way. And if you don't have the resilience, it's going to be tough. So I'll leave it there for now. Catch you next time, and thank you so much for watching and all your support. Bye.